Facebook, Twitter, Google, Reddit, WhatsApp. Donald Trump should attend the 2017 United States Grand Prix. After all, his friend Vladimir Putin attends the Russian Grand Prix. Should Trump not attend, we could blame it on the absence of their possible common friend Bernie Ecclestone. Russia vs. USA in Formula One. If Trump tweeted on Formula One in this week's episode of the Inside Line F1 podcast, we wonder what Trump would tweet about Formula One. Would he call out the truth by tweeting fake overtaking, or would he use the absence of an American driver in Formula One for his next presidential campaign? Make Formula One great again, let's get an American driver in Formula One. Well, would he tweet about how America has built a great circuit for migrant racers to go racing on, and what would his view be about Mexican Sergio Perez racing in America? Tune in to enjoy our content. Why Bernie Ecclestone backed Donald Trump as president. Whether Donald Trump attends or not, Lewis Hamilton will remind us of the president come race day. He expressed his desire to kneel many races ago, and I can't understand why a British citizen would bother much about it. America's political landscape. Is Hamilton thinking of the kneel because it has become a sporting fad in America? Fernando Alonso, 2017 Formula One world champion. As the 2017 Drivers' Championship draws to a close, I read an interesting question on social media. Could Fernando Alonso have won this year's championship with Ferrari? Interesting question, with an even more interesting hypothesis. There's less of a chance that Alonso would have made the mistakes Vettel made in Baku and Singapore, but then again, I am sure this question will make for such interesting discussion in the off-season. Subscribe iTunes. Audio Boom. United States Grand Prix, setting a new benchmark. The United States Grand Prix could become a model for future race organizers to follow, given the ramp-up in the sportainment quotient. Usain Bolt, Michael Buffer, and the numerous other music performances surely add to the local interest. I would say that this could be a perfect example of local customization of a global product. In this episode, I try and mimic Buffer's introduction of Lewis Hamilton. Usain Bolt should use faster than Honda for his social media updates. The Inside Line F1 podcast is hosted by Mithila Mehta and Kunal Shah. This Formula One podcast offers a humorous view on the sport. Car-to-car radio. Formula One will use biometric gloves to gather real-time data from a driver during a crash. It is great to see the boundaries of technology being pushed to the absolute limit in every possible aspect of the sport. But can we also introduce car-to-car radio? Please had we car-to-car radio, maybe Vettel would have behaved himself on track in Baku and just rattled out expletives to Hamilton on radio. Fernando Alonso would have had an earful or more from Vettel and Verstappen in the last two races. Maybe Kevin Magnussen too. Welcome to Formula One. Brendan Hartley's big Formula One dream will come true in the land of dreams this Sunday. There's a link between Hartley's debut and Porsche's future interest in the sport. In similar vein, Aston Martin have hired a former Ferrari engine engineer, to work on their Formula One project. Going purely by form factor of the last few seasons, Aston Martin should have hired a Mercedes engine engineer. However, it is interesting to note that two of the most discussed replacements for Pierre Gasly and Toro Rosso were discarded Red Bull Racing Junior drivers. Sebastian Buemi is who we had our money on. The irony of Roboris. Lastly, Lucas di Grassi was appointed CEO of Roboris, a series that will have autonomous racing cars, basically cars raced by robots. I wonder if the robots will take offense to a human being appointed CEO for their series. Co-hosted by Mithila Mehta and Kunal Shah, the Inside Line F1 podcast is a weekly show on Formula One that attempts to simplify the sport and business of Formula One. This show also aims to add some much-needed humor to the otherwise serious sport of Formula One. In 2016, the show crossed 150,000 listens and was top-rated on iTunes and Audio Boom. The show is available on Kunal's F1 blog and partner websites such as Motorsport, First Post, NDT Vaudo, Sport 360, Sportskeeda, Scroll, Talking About F1, Motor Octane, and others.